Just an observation, this is, because they're hacking into my internet. Right, please take control, systems freemasonry. Could this be a military lockdown? So, as the world the way it is, 5 o'clock, 7th the 7th, 2022, UK. So, the background of a Ben Wallace is linked his father. And before I do anything, I'm just going to observe the weather cams. Right. Okay, let's go back into my channel. You want to keep hacking me? I don't give a shite. They hacked my stream as I was pointing out about a possible connection. Right. I want to show something, and this is public knowledge. I want to show something, and this is public knowledge. And it seems to think the dots seem to be connected. First of all, let's give you some history, some facts. Let me just mute this. Right, where is it? Okay. Disclaimer. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice principal is notice to agent. This is public knowledge on a particular website that shows you. Imperial College London Limited is a company based in London, England. Department of Health and Social Care is a limited company in London. Public Health Limited Company in the past 2 years. All of this is public funded companies. Some of them at least. It's a list. I've just had some printouts. But they like to hack everything. And they keep doing it right now, so bear with me. I can't print all 27 pages out because it would just really rinse my ink. So, this links into what they're doing as well with me in my area, and always have been. So, this potential replacement of Boris Johnson, Ben Wallace, his father was in military defence, is a limited company as well. Health and Care Council, that's page 11. Right. BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation London, is a limited company. Okay. I'm just not find the relevant. I'm just going to, right. I wish I could find my area. Now, it's all called, oh, what's it called? Every town and city in England, okay, from the 1st, last Friday, of July 2022, is actually NHS England Limited Company, public funded, funding a new model of policies called integrated care systems, integrated care boards, integrated care policies, partnerships, and using the umbrella in Statute Act, NHS Digital Limited Company. They call it NHS England. It's called a long-term plan 2022. I've got to relook at that year. In England, every town and city has its own board membership, and in my area, I would say 2017, well, long time before that, but more prominently on documents I have found. Okay, so NHS Northamptonshire Integrated Care Board, exactly like every town and city in England, is set up like that. The new Agenda 2030 plus Agenda 2050 policies is all to do with digitalisation. In statute law, NHS Act, which I need to obviously find and download this particular section, NHS Act 2006. Section 3.31 funded is nationally funding this out of the public purse. Now there's also within Statute Act Section 2 of the Health Act 2009. I need to look up both of these. There is meant to be an NHS constitution for each board and town and city, but they go along. Within that, okay, there is a section on, and I made some notes, I've got to find that, I'll put it together, that in that is the section on the contracts. It's all business and commerce, by the way. So in that is a primary medical services. Is called a provider primary medical services clause 3.6. I need to check that too. The Care Act 2014 is Statute Act. Well, in 2018 and by 2019, I've got a report 2019 confirming in my area, UK, I have been the maladministration of the offer meant to have been adult health social care policy assessment process, whether or not they could offer goods and services, because my reduction in the stroke I had in 2017 and the effect of my physical health, and then the housing on top. But I was completely, by July 2018, I couldn't believe it. You can't make it up. The company in my area, they called it Northamptonshire County Council, but I found out it was a limited company. Yeah, everything's business and commerce. It's just amazing what the whole list of other things I'm about to show. So it transferred to a new company startup in 2021. So that means the contract law, the full disclosure, terms and conditions offer goods and services is meant to be that in contract law. Okay. We the people, the flesh and blood, the living, we are the beneficiaries. And when you learn about trust and equity law, truth about the birth certificate, the trust bond created in England, I can only quote about, one is not, one is seen as a surety in business and commerce. So every time you get an offer, whatever it may be, one's signature, one's autograph on any document, and now everything's all to do with digitalisation now, it's all to get the joinder. So these public servants become in their version, in their terminology, as the beneficiary. They're meant to be the trustees. So one has benefit use of the name of that title. And when you learn this knowledge that I've done for so long, you realise it's all just about the law of the seas, commerce, business, finance. It's all it's about. Okay? But when people are being distracted by so much distractions, you get targeted, you get set up when you just investigate certain things. So, what I'm showing you here is it's all these companies. So there's alleged debt. So who buys the debt? What debt? What is money? It's promises to pay. On the Bank of England, on their notes, and this is where it's all going, digitalisation and crypto, and I don't get started on that. That's another story, another day. But it's all about control. It's always been about control, by just a few people. In this area, the Crown Prosecution Service, every town and city is set up as a company. If you get stopped by these noise campaign police outside, what's happening right now, right? The assumption, what's your name? What's your date of birth? Where do you live? It's a joinder. I've got the printouts. They're a limited company. They set me up getting so, every time I got robbed, anything's happened to me. The common law offences, nobody's been held accountable, common law. You know? Because, anyway, in this area as well, Traffic Enforcement Centre, a limited company, dunandbradstreet.co.uk, by the way, the website's information. So you're going throughout the whole of England. The Leeds District Magistrates Courts Witness Service. It's a limited company. The County Council is a limited company. This is the first for England, in my area, to be Agenda 2030. What they call it, a smart city. So this is this is the one I wanted. So, NHS Commissioning Board, First Floor Quarry House in Leeds in England is a limited company who commissions the public funding purse via, in conjunction with this company, for NHS England Limited. It's the same location. Well, building next door, really. And so I just got to make a note of this as well. So, page 6, because I can't go through it all because it takes, all the pages take forever to print out. This is a selection. And I'm going to just showing these quickly. I won't go into it all. They want to take my bloody wheelchair off me. And this is, I sought clarification yesterday on an email, and no doubt they're going to dismiss the evidence again of the policy and where they need to take the motor apart. I think they need to do it in house, and how I'm trying to figure out how I'm meant to cope with that. This is, and they're keeping a log of emails like I am. And this has been ongoing because this is so I'm just putting the Duns number down. 218134181. That funds the contract. It's all private, outsourced. And I won't mention right now what company it is. This is where there's all these delays, and this is why they're using these companies. So, just going through this list. Ministry of Justice Limited Company, 102 Petty France, London. These, and every town and city in England, and this one's in Peterborough, is set up in its own its own company. Every police force in England is set up the same. It's all companies, corporations. House of Commons. If you don't believe this is the House of Commons and the location House of Commons, London, SW1A, OAA, the Dun & Bradstreet company number is 231240999. The House of Lords, Central London, postcode SW1A OPQ. If they're companies, how can they pass acts and statutes and imply their law? What is the terminology of law? It's not law. It gives impression of law. Government is by the consent of the people. Governance, definitions of words, and when one learns that, this is the evidence. So this is what they need. This is what they do. They get the people that don't know this information. They even trip you up, even if you know this information. And they make it so difficult when you do challenge these agents. That's who they are. They're just men and women agents working for these corporations, public or private. And it needs the full disclosure. So where does the offer, the monetary supply system come from to fund these corporations? By the Treasury. Where does the Treasury get their funding from? The Bank of England. These are limited companies. How do they print their money? By endless printing of notes, paper notes. What are paper notes? Promissory notes. What are promissory notes? Promise to pay on the demand of it. You look at the wording, small wording on your notes. I learned this a long time ago. So these companies are double dipping. If you don't know about business and finance, and just briefly, you'll find out the double dipping is where they get paid twice. So a water company, gas company, whatever, utility companies, whatever it may be. You pay with a piece of paper because it's a belief system. It's not backed up with any value. The value commodity is a living man or woman, individual. To be politically correct, I suppose, if you want to say it that way. So we are seen as a surety in trust in equity for funding taxation, funding public services from the birth certificate trust estate account. So they dip into that by one's autograph on documents. So everything, when you learn how these documents are drawn up in boxes, well, they need the surname first, then the Christian name, or if you've got a middle name, and why they create a Mr. or Miss the title. It's all about commerce. And when you learn how to be the agent representative, or how to do documents and sign them and do your stamp duty, you become the postmaster or mistress, postmaster in commerce, in the in currency, in the flow of water, in business. And this is where they keep targeting me and setting me up, because I learnt this stuff by a wonderful educated individual. Well, quite a few, but one specific one. And oh my gosh, how about it's been worse than ever. Ever since I started learning how to do the stamp duty, yes, it's cost me. It seriously is costing me. And the costing is spiritual. I don't give a monkeys about personal items and physical finance, because it's all an illusion. So, and I don't care if you take my bloody wheelchair away, I don't care. I really got nothing to lose anymore. Well, they're happy all the bloody time anyway. And they're still doing it. And all smart devices, anything smart. And what's the time? I'm going to go and invest in a cheap analog phone. And I'm going to set up my smartphones. I've had enough. I've had enough of all this, but I can't set off one because I've invested in that data use on it. So, were they discussing about members of the cabinet today in England? I'm showing you evidence here on this screen. Well, obviously I'm being blocked to get out in the public domain. The hacking is rerouted. The Lords House of Lords Appointments Commission via the Cabinet Office in London. It is a limited company. 2103-72118, a limited company. United Kingdom Corporation. Did you know that United Kingdom is a limited company? United Kingdom? Wow. When I found this out, I was shocked. 6 Sharon Court, London, N128NX. Duns number 515721152. Department, this is what I require to have, despite my sending these printouts, evidence of fact, well, this has been going on too long, 22 years in the matter, and then recently, everything in civil matter is statute barred in their system after 6 years. You don't keep it open for 22 years. So my 7-page document, affidavit rebuttal, for the 5th time, they don't care because they're not of the decent flesh and blood or of a Christian nature, these agents. They're demonically possessed. They really are after souls. But I won't go into that right now. This is a company, 39 Victoria Street, City of London, SW1H OEU, and this is where they get people. My situation: informed consent. Oh, you have a psychological disability. Oh, we're concerned about your ability to make a decision. Really? By whose authority? When they work for a corporation, they're the agents. Presumptions. If you don't rebut point to point, and it stands in law, when you do your affidavit of rebuttal, which I've already done, yeah, I don't need to produce evidence reports, how I got failed, who failed me, and when and how, because the proof of claim is on those agents making the claim in civil matter. When it's in their system in criminal law, okay, that needs to be a common law offence, physical harm. And of course, they can throw in the racial. I wouldn't even encourage that at all. You have to be so damn careful. I've never done anything unlawful, and yet that I am one of thousands around the world, maybe more, who are on this military program to use as experimentation on their technology, and 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 then the psychological tactics on top they're doing. It's called organised stalking, gang stalking, which is unlawful. But what you eventually will find out, you have all this practical information, all this knowledge, and it boils back down to a massive spiritual demonic earth. I could not believe half of what I found out, and sadly, people are just literally don't care, and majority of people are just in for the world, want to make their fiat currency. When they become a fraternity member of a lodge, a Mason lodge, they get this enlightenment, they think, and that they get to learn about how to claim their life birth record, live life claim, and to take control over the trust estate. And once they do that, they think they're in the money, like my neighbour, right? You just don't, the perpetrator, you don't turn from a lorry driver and suddenly get an 80 grand car and board up just like that. So, and then what, just because you had to do certain demonic things when you get to a high degree level and above 33 masonry level, it's a 36 level. But then it goes into more history, biblical history. And yeah, if you want to go down that avenue, then you'll find things up for yourself. I'll keep to the point. So I've covered, yeah, and here Mac Hancock for West Suffolk MP is actually set up as a limited company. So in the UK media, all these people claim to be members of Parliament. No, they're not. They're actually a corporation, a business. And that man, claiming to be also up the fourth running or a runner for the next Prime Minister in England, here is the details. Unit 1, a mega business village, Thruston Road, North HALLERTON, postcode DL62NA, and the company number is 22521768, DunandBradstreet.co.uk. There you have it. You will be the public in England will be having a business. They know this knowledge. An excellent I can't remember the website. Sovereign Paralegals is a website, I can't remember it now, who put on the alternative media public page, and I downloaded it. It's public to use. And so yeah, and they tried to help the public to let them know. So I'm just going to put this one down as well. And I'm going to do a search on his background. And why I suggest, in my opinion anyway, this other individual may be the front runner in their system, in their business setup. I'm just watching the spelling. So it's, just get the ISHISUNAK. Right, I'm just going to do a quick search on that. Yeah, they're blocking my internet, so I'm just going to do a quick search on this. Now, first of all, they're hacking everything I own, so 5:30, I've been up for half an hour, right. So you keep hacking my bloody phone, I see. Let me check my stream. Right, okay. So, right. Now, they're suggesting in the mainstream media this individual, Ben Wallace, politician, Robert Ben Loban Wallace. British, is a former soldier, Currently serving as Secretary of State of Defence since 2019. Okay. Formally, and it goes into his history. Okay. But you go to his military career. He trained at the Royal Military in Sandhurst, where my late brother was based. His training in the 1980s, in 90s. He might have known my brother, who knows? And there's a connection to the royal family, most probably. The Scottish Guards. The Scottish Dragon Guards. The Foot Guards Regiment of the British Army. A personal bodyguard at the time of King Charles I of England. Yeah? That dates back the ancestry to 1642. Okay? Thus belonging part of what's known as British Army 1686. The formulation goes into the history. Look at these wars. First World War, Second World War. Let's look at the history. The regiment known as the Scotch traces origins back to the Royal Regiment unit raised in 1642. Look at the royalty connection. The Irish Rebellion after the restoration of Charles goes into who this is. The Earl of Argyll. Is that Scotland? I'm not quite sure. Let me just... Yeah, Scotland. Then it's got the 1669. You got 1665 rebellion in Scotland again. So he's got his DNA roots in Scotland. Then you got 16. All this previous history. And then you've got the 18th century. You've got guards remained in Scotland during the war of Spanish cessation. It moved to London in 1712 and did not return. And it goes into history of that. The British defeat the famous of, and it goes into the military. Both battalions were in London of the 1745 Rising. 1745, look at that. So you can do some digging around if you like your history. Got Battle of Waterloo. It goes into the First World War. Goes in Second World War. Since 1948. The years following the Second World War, the Scottish Guards action, a number of Britain's colonial wars, goes into the history of that. Goes into a bit more if you want to have a dig around. During the Falklands War, 1982, that's what my brother was served in. The main focus of Scottish Guard began advancement, goes into all that. So there's a long, long history. So let's go back to where I was. So that's his background. Okay, his earlier life. And he was educated independent schools. His father was a soldier, goes into military career, and how did he become into politics? You might want to know. if he becomes the next UK Member of Parliament since 2005. It's a bit ironic, isn't it? That he could have named my brother, who trained at the same location in that period of time, and then I get set up by the old law company in 2005. I have the things that happened to me in 2002, 2003, 4, 5, and nationally. And ever since then, it's been, there's other stuff happened before then, but not as bad as it has been ever since 2003, 4 to date. There's other stuff that's been going on prior. So, he became appointed Ministry of Defence 2019. So that's just one. Okay. Now I'm going to do a search for this next one. And that then doesn't become the next Prime Minister eventually in England, which you see it'd be a company anyway. Let's just see what this individual's connections has in business. Finance. Chancellor of the Chequer, from 2020 to 2022, previously served as the Secretary of Treasury. This is the finance. And a member of the Conservative Party, he's been a member of the Parliament of Richmond, New York since 2015. He was born in Southampton, Indian parents. He migrated from East Africa. He was educated at, it says what college he went to, in economics and politics. And he went to the college in Oxford and Stanford University. Okay. So he met his wife and the daughter of Indian billionaire business, who founded this company, Indian multinational technology company. So my gut instinct is one out of either two. And if they're going for the future of technology, I reckon it could be this one. Yeah? And if it isn't this individual, it's the other one, because they want a military lockdown to enforce their technology, to enforce the globalist takeover. England's always leading the way, isn't it? So this company goes into technology outsourcing services, founded in the headquarters in, and it quotes where it is, the second largest Indian IT company. Right, so you can check that out easily. And who is this? A British-based Indian fashion designer, a daughter of, and the founder of Indian Multiple International Company. Right? How did they meet? Were they predestined? Was it arranged? So, the Indian businessman here, founder, and it quotes, as I said, chief exec, CEO, and the lunch of the company before retiring. Yep. So it goes into that. And after graduating, now let me just get this particular sentence right. So it quotes where this individual was born, educated, where he met his wife, and who she was and her connections. After graduating, guess what he worked at? Business and finance. Isn't it connection with the Rothschilds? There's got to be a bloodline here. Ready? Goldman Sachs. Can't pronounce it. American investment banking financial institution in New York City. Who's got connections with Rothschilds? Hedge funds? Yeah? Then the Children's Investment Fund LLP. Does it add up? Anyway. They want to create a martial law, they've been hinting about Dark Winter. Well, that didn't happen the way they wanted. Then they're hinting about financial crash. When they want to push the agenda for digital ID, digital control, biometrics, I have a gut feeling this one's going to get in. And then the other one with the military background will be second in line. That's just my gut feeling. Because then the business and finance, the military lockdown, the control of the finance because of financial crash, by design, by global elites, knows full well that there'll be a crisis, civil unrest, people upset. You know, you wouldn't think in England, but who knows? Anything could happen, unfortunately. And they have to do the military lockdown within the military style of connections with NATO, all this Chinese invasion, maybe, don't know, in America. You know, I'm not into all that, but people can research that as they want. Yeah, really? Really, really, really. So anyway, and people are starving homeless, and people like me being set up all the bloody time. And people lost their businesses the past 2 years because of this, you know what's been going on. And eat out to help out. All this cost of living crisis, who created it? Who created it? And his personal life you can check out. So it quotes, alright, owns 91 stake share, the value, and get this, of April 2022. 900 million US dollars, an equivalent for UK, and operating. The company continues to operate in Russia. In Russia, following Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine. How double-standard is that? This public servant and his wife's connections, right? I still have that connection, and do you think people will find that out and research? There ain't going to be an outcry? There ain't going to be frustrations? Is that why they're preparing military? So I'm just putting it out there. Because then they want to crash the internet or things. I'm just putting it out there and then reset everything. Reset the control. But everything's corporations. But they really don't care. They want to quash people that have the knowledge. But a lot of people, I said before, about cryptocurrency. Or what the internet goes down. What you're going to do with your technology then. Oh, well, be safe. Well, you need to invest in basic survival things. Basic food and water. Because anything's possible. And God rest the soul of the Queen if she passes anytime soon. That will add into the mix. It's a psychological psyop. Unfortunately, a lot of things. I'm not saying everything, I'm just saying a lot of things. So, this Wikipedia public knowledge page is public knowledge to look at and read. Oh, so he announced in April this year he's going to close the Russian office. And he owns shares in two of James Oliver restaurant businesses and a business of Wendy's in India. And other businesses. So he met the wife while studying at Stanford University, have 2 daughters. And it goes into personal information. They own a house in Kensington, central London. They own a flat in the Old Bromley Road, London. They own a penthouse suite in California, Santa Man in America. Look where they own a seafront in California in America. He's a Hindu. He took the oath of office, House of Commons, which is a company. You just can't make it up. Right, his brother is a psychologist with 5 degrees. His sister works at the head of Humanian Peace Building, a UN. They want one world army, one world government. UN, style policing, military. So UN funds and programs of foreign commonwealth. Okay. He's got close friends with a Spectator, political editor. Okay. And they got godparents. There's linked to the press. So there's all the public references. Okay. So, is there any update on the mainstream media? So bear with me, let's have a look. No doubt, eventually. I don't even know when they're meant to wake up, public servants for the summer. Anyway. This is great. I love this guy's channel. He's broken it down. It is satanic. First of all, I see there's a mainstream update. Oh, it is golden bones, I tell you. Bear with me. I ain't gonna bloody, this is, you know, this is, I can't even get into anything right now, bear with me. So let's open a new page and let's see what mainstream news. So let's just see if I can get into news. Yes, I can't get into it without opening a tab, so. Let's do a simple search. They track everything I do anyway. So, UK news. And see what's on deadlines. So, he did a statement. PM. Right. This is UK so-called government statement. Okay. On the website. It's not clearly that the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party, but there should be a new leader. And therefore, the new Prime Minister, I have agreed with Sir Graham Bradley, whoever that is, the chairman of the backbenchers MPs, that the process of choosing that new leader should now begin. And the timetable will be announced next week. I have already today appointed a cabinet to serve as I will, and appointed to serve as I will. until somebody replaces him. So he's still in the post till next week. So I want to say to millions of people who voted in 2019 for them voting for Conservative for the first time, thank you for that. So it goes on about history, Conservative Party, goes into that. And the reason I have fought so hard for the last few days to continue to deliver the mandate, it goes into a bit more political jargon. Just because I wanted to do, but because I felt it was my job duty obligation to keep you to continue to do what I do and promised in 2019. And of course I'm immediately proud of the achievements of this. It's not a government, it's a corporation, by the way. So he quotes reference, there's always a hidden meaning, but I'm not going to go there. And he goes into a lot of other stuff about the war in Ukraine and Russia, goes into all that. It goes into the investment of skills and technology. And I'm sure someone out there is going to break all this down and do a pretty good video about all this symbolism, but I don't do that myself. So, in the last 2 days, I tried to persuade his colleagues to be more eccentric and change your governments when we are delivering so much and when we seek such a vast mandate when we're actually only a handful of points behind in the polls. It's all political, you know what. So let's go down. Don't forget, scripted. They get told what to say. Oh, look, and because of the way to generate the growth and the income, we need to pay for the great public services, or the very ones that set people up and gaslight them, and lie and manipulate and cover up their tracks. They're companies, by the way, public funded. Anyway. And then it goes on, again, reference. People need to research this themselves. Police limited companies, NHS, emergency services, you need to research how they're funded, their companies, and of course, NHS. NHS, crucial, really. It is a corporation, I've already shown that. So, anyway. What else? There's not much. Brief statement. So, what's going to happen next week? This is on the mainstream website. Published. So, let's see if anyone's covering anything on this. Okay. So where was it? Like it happened? Did he speak?
The Irish Prime Minister.
A live project of what? It just showed the door opening, it didn't show nothing else. Oh, good gracious me. What about this one? Sky News.
I was having trouble with work because I couldn't read quickly enough and I couldn't retain anything that I read.
Raise living standards and tackle this inflation crisis.
Right. Achievements and address.
Herd moves. It moves.
Acknowledging he couldn't carry on, but true to 9-month-old daughter watched on alongside number 10 staff as Boris Johnson told the country he hadn't wanted to go.
And in the last few days, I've tried to persuade my colleagues that it would be eccentric to change governments when we're delivering so
Look how packed out that mainstream media are. It's a circus.
much. I regret not to have been successful in those arguments, and of course it's painful and not to be able to see through so many ideas and projects myself. But as we've seen at Westminster,
It doesn't seem upset at all, does he?
the herd instinct is powerful. When the herd moves, it moves.
Acknowledging he couldn't carry on, but true to himself to the very end. No remorse.
A lot of protesters outside 10 Downing Street and the public street.
Here. There was,
Look at it. Oh my goodness me.
though, regret.
Wow. Just be prepared for anything.
I know that there will be many people who are relieved.
Just be prepared for anything because you need to be safe. Practical and safe.
And perhaps quite a few who will also be disappointed. And I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world. Them's the breaks. Even if things can sometimes seem dark now, our future together is golden.
And this is why he had to go. The avalanche of resignation letters triggered by Cabinet Minister Sajid
Don't forget, I have the Commons, as I just showed you earlier, it's an empty company.
Javid and Rishi Sunak's resignations. That, in the end, buried Boris Johnson. His time really up when his new Chancellor Nadhim Zahawi publicly called for the Prime Minister to go, and staunch allies call in time too.
I'm just sad that it came to this because I think he is, as I say, a good person instinctively. And I think that he could have been and should have been a great Prime Minister, but sadly, just a poor choice over too long a time. It just meant his position was untenable.
But with this place engulfed in drama, the business of running
A lot of equipment, innit?
in the country goes on. Boris Johnson says he'll stay on until a successor can be found, but many Conservative MPs want him to leave now and another caretaker PM come in.
The last 48 hours, his refusal to accept reality has done a lot of damage to trust in the institution as a whole, in Parliament, conventions that we have in the Conservative Party, that when the game's up, and unfortunately it took a long time for the Prime Minister to realise that.
But number 10, not the only place across Westminster with vacancies. Boris Johnson today rapidly filling ministerial posts, including within his cabinet, in a bid to keep this show on the road. Labour demanding an immediate overhaul.
They've declared him unfit to be Prime Minister. They can't inflict him on the country for the next few months. If they don't get rid of him, we will bring that vote of no confidence in the national interest, because we can't go on with this broken government led by this discredited Prime Minister.
Boris Johnson will always be...
Isn't it interesting
Be
they're wearing
remembered as
red?
the politician
Symbolism, red
that brought
ritual.
Brexit
They're being
to Great
sacrificed.
Britain. At his height, he was the most successful Conservative Party leader at the ballot box since the days of Margaret Thatcher. He won a huge mandate.
Let's skip along a bit. So, is this a likely candidate? Let's have a look. Right, all the pop-ups. Without all this hacking, going on. Track loss, financial. Right, let's see what they're saying.
Chair of the Health and Social Care Committee. Last night, the Attorney General, Suella Braverman, announced that she would run to become leader. Also, Brave, so it goes on, would be the current Chancellor and former Education Secretary Nadim Zahawi. But the leading candidate at the moment appears to be the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace, who is the most popular cabinet minister among Conservative parties.
Told you his connections to military. Is there going to be a connection with the martial law? Potential concerns to lock down the country because of the comets, the planet, the economic crisis, potential civil unrest because economic, situation financially is on control. It's all controlled. I'm not going to share this anymore. People can go and watch it themselves. I'll watch it another time. I'm not going to be here longer. Let's go back to the documents. I don't know if I still got them. Hello, Tanya. They've been hacking me, Tanya. It's all going to head. Oh, sorry, Tanya, I don't think you're still there. I'm trying to find where I was. Is it all by control? Are they? Here you go. So it's all companies. All of them are limited companies. And Tanya with there, hello. For hacking me, by the way. So, House of Parliament limited company, House of Lords, they're all companies, okay? The Revenue and Customs are limited companies. United Kingdom Corporation. And this is the website. Courtesy of SPLSpro.com and other social media platforms. Okay? And you can go into Trade and Commerce links. Trade and Commerce, United Kingdom Corporation, history 1940. It goes into the history. You can go and find out these things for oneself. To excellent researchers out there. And sadly, I know this information. And what I'm doing personally, they don't care because they just want to rip in and demonically soul catching, isn't it? And look at the poll, look at the College of London, look at their connections in history. Okay, so that's it for me. I just thought, is there a connection? And the last thing, I'll double check on the weather cams. Okay. Get my drink of water. So, on a personal note, you can stop hacking me because I know it's all Freemason links together. I'll stop sharing now. So, on a personal note, you can stop hacking me because I know it's all Freemason links together.
Stop sharing.
I've got to turn my Wi-Fi off for a bit, Tanya. I've got to turn my Wi-Fi off for a bit, Tanya. And there's a gentleman that did a video. I'm just going to check his breakdown of this. And there's a gentleman that did a video. I'm just going to check his breakdown of this. Let's see whether or not I do cover that, because is it a lockdown, or is there something else going to happen for the summer? So just a possibility, I'm just observing. Experimentation on their technology, and then psychological tactics on top they're doing. Okay, so you can say just focus on, well, I'm not saying what to do because I've got a lot myself to do with. You have all this practical information. I think it might be in a different channel. And all this knowledge, and it falls back down to a massive spiritual demonic. It's invasion of what's going on. I could not believe half of what I found out. And people want you to be distracted by these demonic things that's going on. Sadly, people are just literally don't care. The majority of people are just in for the world, want to make their fiat currency. When they become totally member of a lodge, a Mason lodge, they get this enlightenment, they think, and that they get to learn about how to claim their line of birth records, live like claim, and to take control over the trust estate. And once they do that, they think they're in the money, like my neighbour, right? You just tell the perpetrator, you don't tell them no, it happens, and you get an 80-grand car, the board up beside that. So, and then what, just because you have to do certain demonic things, where you get to a high degree level, and above legendary masonry level, it's 36 level. But then it goes into more history. There's links to the weather. There's links to the demonic entities out there too. Extreme heat coming up, right, in England as well. Very, very hot as well. Biblical history. And I saw you got all over the mainstream and alternative news is events on the anniversary of all those people lost their lives. Sadly. Right, it's not there. So let's try and find it. And I can just turn everything off. I need a break from all this. Focus on my spirituality. Because it's demonic. So demonic. just keep hacking my bloody computers and more. Just trying to find somebody post that link earlier, so bear with us. There's a lot of people coming about Georgia Garstein's Georgia America, but there is more important things to know about. Is demonic things, the rise in demonic, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of scaremongering going on. Fear. They feed off fear, people, you know. I know that too well. So just be aware, it's all just pre-planned, all this. And all these mainstream medias are all the corporations, but connections. Just, I'm sure there's loads of I thought I could find the link I wanted, but I can't. For now, let me just see what notification. No doubt I'll find it at some point. Anyway. So we'll go back to the point of the setups, and unfortunately I need a break. Need a break. I'll take my wheelchair and these public servants. Gotta make a note of this. So I sought clarification. All this demonic things happening in the world, and they have to bother with what I've been trying to do for so long to survive like anyone else. $1.30 now. Good, they do the repair in the car park. But there might be a problem. Please be asking responses. Oh my gosh. I'm not commenting. Right, I'm ending this stream. Take care.